What you see here is an Old Jacksonville Jackson ceiling fan. 4 blades, 52 inches, antique brass finish. Old Jacksonville was a ceiling fan brand of the early 1980s that made stack motor ceiling fans rather similar to that of Casablanca. It seems they were trying to copy Casablanca's success to at least some extent. They were based out of Texas, as is the case with many of these other copycat fan companies, and as such, they are most commonly found in Texas or its neighboring states. Though some have trickled into other parts of the U.S. here and there. Pennsylvania, however, where I am located, they are extremely uncommon. So to have found this one just an hour away from me in the Keystone State was pretty lucky. The marketplace listing for which I found it was originally for kitchen cabinets. However, in the corner of one or two of the listing pictures, I saw a fan, and I could only see one blade and a corner of the motor housing, but it was enough to discern that it was, in fact, an Old Jacksonville. So, I messaged the seller, and thankfully they were open to selling the fan as well. The whole house was being renovated, so everything had to go. Blade iron design is very similar to Casablanca. Fan uses a cardboard box variable speed control. Has a rubber flywheel. It's fairly flexible. The faceplate has an S-vent pattern on it, similar to that of the Homestead Whisperfan II. Stencil blades. Rather unique stencil pattern compared to some other companies. Tall sideband, making a nice thick motor housing. And this particular Old Jacksonville uses ball socket mounting. From what I've seen, some have ball socket mounting, others have bell canopy style mounting. Again, identical to that of early Casablancas. Not sure if... I assume it's discerned of slightly older versus slightly newer Old Jacksonvilles, which style of mounting it got, but I would not know that for sure. The label is over on this side. Overall, this fan's in really good shape, just barring a few small scuff marks here and there. It came 100% complete. The only thing it didn't have was a mounting bracket, but since it's just basic ball socket, that was very easy to find a replacement for. Old Jacksonville had a few different models, though the main three that I'm aware of are the Jackson, as seen here, the Vicksburg, which was an ornate variation, basically Old Jacksonville's answer to the Casablanca Victorian, and then there was the Old Jacksonville Savannah, which is, I guess, their answer to the Four Seasons, as it's basically a slightly smaller size Jackson. The only other Old Jacksonville I currently own is a Savannah in brown and antique brass, which I made a video of about 2 years ago, I want to say. I did have another Old Jacksonville, however I ended up selling that fan. That was one of the later 3-speed ones that could sometimes be found under other labels such as American Pride. But that's a whole other rabbit hole that I don't necessarily feel like getting into right now. Anyways, turn this fan on. Start it up at the slow end of the variable speed control. believe this fan uses a GE stack motor. That seemed to be the stack motor of choice for a lot of these companies. It was for Tara, one of the other Texas companies, as well as Homestead, which was in California. Alright, let's turn it up a bit. The blade irons are a bit out of balance on this fan. Those irons do look to be a bit flimsy. I've not really dealt with Old Jacksonville irons very much, but just based on how they look, that's what I would deduce. But again, I have limited experience, so just taking an educated guess there. I've said this before in one or two of my Homestead videos, I believe, but it holds up here. The GE motor is rather quiet, at least compared to that of an Emerson K55 or K63 motor, which I'm all too used to. Still making a 60 cycle hum, but it is noticeably quieter for sure. Alright, then we'll go to full speed. Fan gets a bit of a wobble here. putting out really good air. Spins decently fast, though certainly not the fastest stack motor fan I've ever seen. Pretty much on par with that of a K55 Casablanca. And I would say a better performer than a Terra, a Southern Fan Company Terra. Turn it off. And there you have it, an antique brass Old Jacksonville Jackson.